This is the one-day chart once more, and we will be discussing XRP in this episode. At $3.03, we are seated here. Everything appears to be coming together for the moment we've been anticipating, and this may be the start of a slow rising trend. In this video, I'll go into greater detail about it and examine Bitcoin's return to above $155,000. Everyone believes that this might be the start of Bitcoin's last surge before it crashes, and over the next few days, everyone will be watching the Bitcoin dominance chart to see if it begins to decline as the price of Bitcoin rises. That has happened in past cycles, and the old season is almost here. We are now at 65 out of 100. The season is officially over once we reach 75. Many individuals have already stated that we are in the full season, as I can see. I prefer to watch the market over time and avoid making snap judgments, but at the moment, everything is going great for XRP, and we even have some significant news for today. It's almost time for the XRP ETF decision week, October 18th to 25th, followed by the major event, Franklin Templeton, on November 14th. Everyone was instructed to keep an eye on certain dates, but it appears that things are beginning to improve. Momentum trading in the OSPREY crypto ETF, which includes XRP, Bitcoin, Doge, Bonk, and Trump, began today after passing SEC inspection. To find out what is causing all of that money influx, I would like to see how much money goes into that ETF. Is it XRP? Do people want to buy a Doge or a Trump coin? However, this is only a portion of it. This is one of the major new Fidelity and Canary crypto spot ETFs listed by the DTCC. Thus, the Fidelity Solana ETF was listed by the DTCC on September 12th. Potential ETF releases without regulatory permission are preceded by the Canary Hedera ETF and Canary XRP ETF. Although these listings indicate market interest, they also draw attention to the continued regulatory obstacles facing ETFs that hold digital assets and do not trade right away or have a big impact on prices until the SEC makes a decision. Will those dates now be expedited as a result? In the coming weeks, we may witness the launch of XRP ETFs one after the other, rather than in October. It might occur sooner than anticipated. And once more, I believe there are a number of factors contributing to the current price increase. It's the XRP TFS's expectation. Expectations for Fed rate reduction are also present. I really believe that the Fed will lower interest rates this time, which will signal that cryptocurrency is ready to take off. We've reached the finish line, I'm telling you. Now all you have to do is wait for us to cross the finish line so you can profit from it, which I believe will happen in the coming months. You know, same as 2017 and 2018. Everyone always predicted that XRP would have this huge run-up and be finished in 2 weeks. Not with ETFs though. There will be a steady stream of institutional capital into XRP. That's on top of several rate cuts by the FED for the remainder of this year, the implementation of ISO, and the concurrent enactment of new rules. This is what we have yet to receive. People are already attempting to claim that the crypto industry is at its peak and that this cycle is over. Don't pay attention to these individuals. For XRP, this cycle hasn't even started yet. I'm telling you, we have a long way to go. This time, don't be in a hurry to sell your XRP. Here's yet another significant XRP update. According to Total Capital Management CEO Matthew Tuttle, new leveraged ETF filings involving XRP are prepared for release. Listen to it.
But I thought, let's just jump right in on these crypto ETF filings I mentioned. So correct me if I'm wrong, I showed 10 filings from back in January. These are all 2 times leveraged ETFs, and they cover everything from that Trump meme coin I mentioned to XRP, Solana, Litecoin, Bonk. There are a bunch of these. And so first, let me ask, where do these currently stand with the SEC? And I'll offer the usual disclaimer. I know there's only so much you can say that with certain filings, so I'll throw that out there. But what can you tell us about these?
Yeah, and actually, interestingly, they are all just about ready to go from an effectiveness standpoint. You know, this is as I'm sure you know, an entirely...
He claims that they are prepared to leave. Therefore, If he is telling the truth, this will probably take place within the next 2 or 3 weeks. Everyone is saying, well, you still have time to invest. So that's one thing to watch, because we might not be waiting until the end of October. Until the end of October, none of the ETFs is scheduled to launch. I'd land a job right away. Since XRP is still trading at $3 and change, I wouldn't be sitting on the sidelines right now. However, once it does start to break out, it will happen very rapidly, and suddenly you are purchasing at $6, $7, or $8 instead of $3, since the price of XRP will change quickly once the money flow with the market cap multiplier begins. The first quarter of 2026 and the fourth quarter of 2025 are highly anticipated for XRP. Enjoy the process and exercise patience. We're really close. As I mentioned earlier, I believe the top will probably appear next year. Normally, January or February would be the highest, but this time we need to monitor the money flows into those ETFs. We must also observe. A lot is going on around this cryptocurrency. And if ISO is influencing the price of XRP, there will also be a lot of institutional adoption taking place, because rules are probably going to be implemented early next year. There is a lot more money you could make if you don't rush to cash in. What will happen if you wait a little while longer and 1.2 billion XRP spikes in a single day? They are discussing a spike in XRP on Binance, and there is a lot of conjecture surrounding this. The price of XRP is allegedly being manipulated by Binance. According to others, Binance is positioning itself for the impending events around XRP. Regardless of your point of view, I believe that a rush to purchase XRP is likely to occur. A lot of FOMO will be present. Binance also wishes to establish a position. That might be the true situation.
What have I been saying all along about BlackRock's efforts to tokenize funds linked to physical assets? Those ETFs will be tokenized by them. According to reports, the biggest asset management firm in the world is considering putting its wildly popular ETFs on-chain. They're going to tokenize those ETFs, which is what I've been telling you all along. And they're probably going to end up on the XRP ledger through Ondo. Bloomberg reported on Thursday that BlackRock's Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs each reached $10 billion in assets under management in less than a year, making them two of only 3 such products to reach that milestone. Rumor has it that BlackRock intends to tokenize its funds using equities and real-world assets on the blockchain. BlackRock will make use of Ondo, a Ripple partner. How come they wouldn't use Ondo? This also came out on the same day, and I believe that's probably the direction BlackRock will follow. Wall Street gets on-chain through Ondo. The fact that Ondo releases this on the same day that BlackRock announces its plans to move exchange-traded funds on the blockchain is simply too coincidental. Those funds will be tokenized by them. That was not a coincidence, in my opinion. You cannot be pessimistic. While Bitcoin and Ethereum barely moved in just 7 days, real-world asset tokens are booming. The market capitalization of real-world assets increased by $8 billion, from $67 billion to $75 billion. In a week, that is a 10% move. BlackRock is positioning itself now, because trillions will come next. Do you believe they will be left behind by this surge in tokenization? Not at all. Additionally, they won't pass up XRP. It's only a question of time till they apply for a spot XRP ETF. They will announce Ripple Swell later this year, so perhaps everyone is correct. Since BlackRock is still the subject of so much conjecture, we truly don't know yet.
However, I am aware that XRP is now again above $3. Now, I believe it will probably pull back a little, then begin to rise again, then pull back a little and rise even more, which will lead to the Fed lowering rates. We also need to watch what happens with the inflows for that ETF over the day. The moment of excitement is almost upon us. This is only the start of something much more significant. I will also continue to monitor Bitcoin. From here, I'm interested to see where it goes. The market appears to be doing well, and I was a little too thrilled watching this video, but I want to see if this is the final upswing before it crashes. I'm sure I made a few mistakes along the way, But the point I wanted to convey is that this is not the time to be pessimistic about XRP or to wait for it to drop in value, because I continue to see people predict that it will fall below $2 before it takes off. That doesn't occur to me at all. No chart expert, in my opinion, is predicting a significant decline in the price of XRP. The lowest I've ever seen was around $2.85, after which it would start to rise. I'm not even sure if that will happen right now, because I believe those ETFs will launch sooner than most people anticipate. And once the money starts flowing, it won't stop for a few months. This coin is in high demand. They could spin it any way they want, you know. Jamie Dimon and the Bitcoin Maxes are both capable of spinning it. They're all lying. There isn't any institutional demand for XRP. It's easy to see how much demand there is for this coin. Why, in your opinion, are there so many ETF filings? This is because organizations such as Franklin Templeton and others are paying attention to their clients. The filings are taking place because their customers already desire this. As a result, they already have a waiting list of investors for an XRP ETF. If not, they wouldn't even bother to file.